All right, everybody. Hey, hopefully we are actually live and going here. Just wanted to say hi to everybody. I think everybody knows who we are. I'm Sean. We got Shannon. We got DeCall. And we are the after party show, the after hours party. We haven't even figured it out yet. Everybody thinks it's the after party, after hours, whatever. So if you're not familiar with our show here, we're kind of just follow a gypsy's kiss. We got kind of a different routine. We're pretty much off the cuff. Anything goes, no real set agenda. We have no moderators, so who knows what's going to happen, folks.
Oh yeah,
totally not not meant to be PG-13, so we can't guarantee that you ain't going to get any words that fly out of our mouths that you don't want the kids to hear. So tonight we're just going to open it up. We're going to keep track of the chat room and try and answer some of your questions. We're going to talk a little bit about Cynthia tonight. So I'm going to open up to Shannon and DeCall and kind of talk about what they got out of tonight's show. So what'd you guys think?
Of course. Go ahead, DeCall. You first.
I didn't think it was boring or anything, but like Crocs on the ground, that was hilarious. Did you hear Luigi say that? Not boots on the ground, Crocs on the ground. So he's
walking around in Crocs out there, really?
Said, yeah.
I'm getting it.
I suppose you could cross.
What are you drinking tonight, Shannon?
What are you drinking tonight? I'm actually drinking another margarita, a mix.
Nice.
No ice, just nice and straight.
So homemade.
Yeah,
I'm actually tonight, for everybody, if you don't know, I'm hanging out at Three Rivers Brewery in Farmington, New Mexico. I'm actually drinking what is called an Amber Arroyo. It's a 5.6 percent alcohol volume Scottish ale. Great beer, great place to be. So if you're in the area, come on down to the Brew Distillery and hang out and say hi, folks. So sorry to get that out. And DeCall, what are you drinking tonight? Diet Coke again?
Yeah, no, I've never drank. I don't plan on starting tonight. Or
man,
it would kill me if I pretended like I did. But clean as a whistle.
A little rum in that Coke.
Yeah.
He doesn't need the alcohol to have fun. He just
no.
Wow, he's got us.
But
he's gonna balance us out. When we start getting too crazy, DeCall will reel us in.
We really have good chemistry. We make a great team here. He's gonna keep us balanced and centered. Somebody's got to.
But we won't tell each one of us where we're looking. We won't tell each other.
Everybody knows my area. Everybody knows his area. Kind of, Sean, you're the mystery man of the bunch. You are the one who's like,
Zip.
But yeah, back to Cynthia with the Gypsy's Kiss tonight. It was good to hear her in our search area, wasn't it, DeCall? It's nice to see her moving out of New Mexico.
No, I like her. I like her blog. I like the area, and Joel is our area too, in a way. Follows the same path. Cynthia said she doesn't have any clues solved. I think.
Yeah, I heard that too.
Yeah,
Zero.
Some of the places she was looking at, like for Warm Water's Hot, really made me kind of be like, I don't know about this. But she did have some interesting statements. She brought up the fact that do the flat parts of the Rocky Mountains actually count as part of the Rocky Mountains, or part of the mountains. Like she's definitely looking for more mountainous areas as opposed to the flats. And she also had brought up, that she believes that the clues are mostly close together, which was something that was very different from my original stuff.
Yeah, I was surprised to hear that.
Yeah.
So it's good to hear her kind of opinion and see things, from an experienced searcher's eye, somebody who's had many, many, many boots on the ground. So it's going to be interesting to see where else she searches this summer when she goes back out. So she's got another 6 days boots on the ground soon. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see where she goes. Maybe she'll head up Beaver Creek there DeCall.
Fine with me. Come on down.
Come on down to Beaver Creek. We got everything down here.
Just don't do it in the
love
wintertime. That
Cynthia
will kick your boot. The wintertime.
Cynthia is definitely one of my favorite. She's one of my favorite searchers. I love Cynthia. I have a lot of respect for her. She has to probably be one of the most credible and honest searchers that are out there that is well known. Really, She's got a lot of credibility. She's spent a lot of time in this. She's open and honest. She's willing to tell you. I mean, honestly, she says, I've got 0 of them figured out. I mean, really, is that not true? None of us have them figured out. I mean, we don't have the treasure. So you're right, Cynthia. None of us have them figured out. 0. Forrest Fenn's laughing at all of us. So one thing that I really took away is kind of what you guys are saying, that she said everything's kind of in a close-knit area, and Chobe kind of said the same thing. And what she said that really interested me, and this is going to be kind of self-serving for how I think, but she said when she's talking about, warm water's halt, she said maybe that's what we're all getting wrong. Maybe it's not the halt, and she's talking about in regards to people getting the first 2 clues right, and not knowing it going on past it, because maybe they're not necessarily at halt. Maybe they're at somewhere else that the clues are referring to. And, I like to look at that. What Forrest Fenn has said is, you oversimplify the clues. There are many places in the Rocky Mountains where warm water's halt. And me being a 9 clues, 9 sentences guide, that it's that whole entire sentence, not just that one single line. And I think that's, what I think a lot of people are getting wrong, that it's not just that single line, it's the whole clue. And she kind of touched on that, and that's something I took out of course, again, that just fits within, my thinking and my confirmation bias. So, but I think it was a great show, a little slow, we're a little bit different. We do things a little bit differently here, but still a good show. And it was great to see Joel. I love Joel. He's a great guy. So it's interesting seeing him and talking to him. So what do we got in the chat room? Anything going on?
Just some shout outs to some people. Let's see here. David Kramer, Anananon, Eric Smith's in the house. Jason, our Ben treasure hunter, is here. Jeremy Milstead, Sledneck, Jim White, Jason Hilgerson. Hello, everybody. Happy Hump Day. Yes.
It is Hump Day.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Like we were talking in the emails, like we're kind of like, after The Walking Dead, they have that Talking Dead show. So we're like the Talking Fenn. We're like the Talking Fenn show, after AGK. Yeah.
We're the lost Fenn children.
Yes.
We're all lost. We don't know what we're doing.
I didn't get a chance to hear Cynthia or anybody answer the question, is it hidden or buried? This recent article, The Legend of Fenn's Gold. It's the second... the Enterprise Rental was named The Legend of Fenn's Gold, or Legend of Fenn, and my page is called The Legend of Forrest Fenn. And then this new article is The Legend of Fenn's Gold. I think it's interesting. Maybe it's kind of a common theme. But supposedly...
He's talking about this guy, all about him.
But that's kind of like the takeaway from this article. It's not buried. It's not buried, or I can't give that as a clue. It may or may not be.
Don't say that again, or I'm going to shoot you with a dull bullet. Is what he said. I thought that was hilarious. So that's total Fenny. I hate that. Where does that come from? Does anybody know the origination of Fenny? Like, where did that come from?
I like saying Fenny. Is this place Fenny enough? I have to admit, when we were out there, I was like, this doesn't seem Fenny to me. I mean, it does. It's one of those things that just sticks with you. It's like you don't want it to stick. It's
so
like
if anybody wants to make money, we need a shirt that says, "Am I Fenny enough for you?"
Speaking of which, Man Alone had an awesome video talking about different T-shirts and things. Like, if you haven't seen that, go over. Some of them were hilarious. I have no effing idea where this is, like, where the treasure is, something like that. That was hilarious. I was like, oh my gosh. So
Brown.
Now in the chat, Sledneck asked everybody here, has Forrest Fenn ever responded to an email that contains search details for you guys?
No, he has responded to emails, but he never talks about, search details or confirming or anything like that. I've never asked him for
my email from Fenn when I showed him my search area. You guys want to see it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
The most spectacular email ever sent out by Fenn. Let me see if I can pull it up.
Now he's gonna change the screen, folks. Watch out! It's gonna get crazy in here. I'm gonna be checking the.
Yeah, no. Fenn has never replied to any of mine about my search area, and then when I first started, and I was very vague, and I said how I was pretty sure I knew where it was. I watched a geographical, video that kind of led me to where I thought it was, and he did reply to that. But But no, every time I send him something with actual places, unless I'm asking where is this, like I asked him where Highway Hole was, I've asked him where Water Hole was, things like that. Then he's responded to where it was, but never if I'm talking about the search in relationship to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Supposedly,
that's good. That's good to hear that he doesn't,
Yeah.
Joel says he knows where the water hole is. We knew Stephanie knew where that, she figured out where the water hole was too. It's near that Barnes hole.
Yep. I think it's more north of there. Oh, no, wait, south of there.
What water hole are we talking about? Sorry, I lost you guys.
There's a picture. Yeah, there's a picture in Too Far to Walk where he's like standing there holding a fish, and there's like a little sign that says water, and then there's water spouting out of the spout.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yep, gotcha. Yep.
Check it out. All right,
that's cool. I didn't know that.
Here it is. All right. Here it is. You will always be the strawberry in the milkshake of my heart. Let's do some bra things together. Please don't go too far away. Is that some weird ass shit?
Are you being catfished by Fenn?
I think so.
What is he doing?
He thought I was a woman.
He want to ask you on a date?
He basically told me to take my bra off right there.
Let's do some bra things together.
Oh, you got a hot date with Fenn.
How do we turn this off? Stop share.
You are a strawberry in his milkshake. Fenn, if you were watching, you please got to tell us what were you thinking in that email response.
What kind of medication were you on at the time, Fenn? I mean, what were you drinking? What was in your strawberry milkshake?
I guess that would be the definition of Fenny.
I told that to a couple people, and they're like, "What the heck?" Like Stephanie, she's like, "He said that to you?" Like even Stephanie didn't believe it.
I'm gonna have to email him. Hey, am I the strawberry in your milkshake? Why can't I be the strawberry in your milkshake? Am I not special or favored enough?
All right. So
one thing go ahead, Shannon.
I was gonna say in the chat, Eric Smith said, Cynthia mentioned the isthmus and why must I go? I don't know the connection. Do you guys have any ideas on that?
The what? I lost you.
The isthmus. Am I saying that wrong?
I don't know. You're saying it right.
Isthmus. The more I drink of this, the less that word's going to be able to come out of my mouth. I'm just saying.
It's going to come out funny.
Yeah, but what's the significance?
I got one.
Isthmus.
Sorry, Eric. We are clueless, apparently. So.
Somebody please give us a definition of that. What is it?
Yeah, come on, DeCall. You can work your computer.
I've got another question here from David Kramer, and this is to DeCall. With a 5 or 6 inch tall chest, a 7-inch rock on top of it, the pile of rocks may only be a foot high, then some debris, not a big standout. Where did that one come from?
Well, I mean,
that guy's drinking. We don't even know what he's saying.
Well, yeah, that's just how is the chest hidden. I tend to look at that Indian woman in the kiva or whatever the hell, the chest, that box. I've never heard of a ceramic box. I don't even know if that's real. I've never seen ceramic pottery from actual Indians that are square. Doesn't make any sense.
Square like
obvious. So what I'm saying is it's obviously a symbolism for the chest being under the floor. Okay. So is that buried? Of course it fits the definition of buried. It's under the floor.
Or sepulcher.
And it also has the dragonfly on the side of it, the Indian symbol for dragonfly. A whole bunch of ideas connected with that. I used to think that meant underwater because it looked like river gravel in that. And then surprisingly, that pot in the floor looks just like an upside down omega or the pot at the end of the rainbow. So that's how I see the chest hidden. And that question did come up tonight. I didn't hear Cynthia's answer or even Joel's answer on that. But Fenn did make a big deal out of concealed. He made a big deal out of hidden. I think he's making a big deal out of buried because the fact that he lived and grew up near the cemetery. He played in the cemetery as a kid. That was their local little park. He has this whole book, Thrill of the Chase, is full of grave symbolism. Okay, we got the tree of stumps. The tree stumps picture is definitely pointing to his dad's grave marker because of the number of stumps there. That's probably the only cipher in the whole game that I've seen where they count the number, where they point to his dad's burial plot. The number.
Was it 23 stumps or 22?
You're getting all deep on ciphers here, DeCall. We're going to have to back you off on this. We're going to have to back you off.
Yeah, but what is burial? Okay, we're back to
well, you know what, DeCall? I actually have a video that'll be coming up probably this weekend. First one will be the Warm Waters Halt video, and then I will be doing a video on Hidden. So stay tuned. And again, if anybody in here is not subscribed to the Odious Soul, please go over to the Odious Soul channel when you're done this video and hit that subscribe button. You won't be disappointed.
Are you gonna talk about all the different? I mean, you've got gravestones. You've got the waterfall.
I guess you're just gotta have to see about what I'm gonna say on those videos, aren't you? I know, right? It's like suspense right there.
Folks. What a tease!
Well, I definitely think. So. Let me ask you this, Shannon. Have you ever read the poem and said that sounds like death? A description or symbolic of death? Have you ever
I wouldn't say that I would think it's symbolic of death. I do think that, it's definitely a man who's come to the end, who's tired and ready to pass on, that kind of a thing. But and if you look back to my first solve, I mean, it was with the Madison Slide, which, the Madison Slide killed several people. So there are several people buried there. So and right now I may admit that I might be searching for a lot of old forgotten tombstones and burial sites. Just trying to see if I can find anything. I haven't found anything that's been too remarkable yet, but my heavy Googling has really been focused on that.
Supposedly there are some grave sites there in Yellowstone, but very few.
Yeah. And a lot of them are quite off the beaten path. I mean, some of those, like, I hear people talking about like walking 3 miles or, having to take like 4-wheel drive and then you still have to walk past that. So the ones in Yellowstone, there's actually one right off the Firehole River. It is marked and kind of more familiar. And
I've heard of it. But let me ask you this, you guys. In my solve, I don't want to talk about my solve so much, but I just think it's like the perfect answer for this death theme is my little island in the middle of my lake looks exactly like a grave. It's like a perfect grave mound. Even the last page of the book is like a grave mound, is that, his epitaph is, let me do it. So his epitaph is, I'm the little sunbeam.
Now we're doing charades, guys. Now we're doing charades.
So that little epitaph is sort of in a mound shape. I think he went to some trouble. I don't think that was by chance. And then we are talking about his final resting place. I think.
But it's his. It's not like it has to be other people's final resting place. What would his perfect place to die be?
We've talked about it several times, DeCall, that there could be several different layers to the poem, different double entendres. The poem could be a straightforward literal meaning, but if it took him 15 years, he could have also placed in there double entendres that are more about, in your style, more of the imaginative, more of the emotional part of Fenn that he's trying to put into this. Yes, he's trying to obviously lead someone, to his treasure chest, but at the same time, there could be hidden meanings and other double entendres in there that could be a big reason why the guy took 15 years to put this in.
You're seeing six different gravestone or grave sites or conversations about graves, and then wouldn't there be in the correct solve? We're all looking for the correct solve. If you're finding a grave out in the wilderness, that might be an acceptable path to investigate it at the very least. I think it's very deliberate. I think in reading the poem as in death, put in below the home of Brown, could be the coffin being lowered. Many people have talked about it. Every line of the poem could be, as I've gone alone in there, it's so simple, you die, you're all alone,
Yeah, but as you also had pointed out, that every line in the poem could be taken in a complete sexual context too. So there's so many possibilities.
Yeah.
When do we get training in that show? Let's do that one.
Man, last week it was the rape whistle. Now this. Jeez. Okay. So I do want to
keep bringing it up. You're the one that brings it up. We're just along for the ride.
That's why you have me here. I do want to give a shout out. We do have Bill Gorman in the house. So I just want to say thank you for joining our show and our chat tonight, Bill Gorman. Bill Gorman, I cannot wait for you to come be a part of the show one night. So that's what I'm looking forward to. Just going to say, okay?
I don't know if we can handle Bill. Bill's
going to be nervous, bro, because we're roasting you. We're going to roast you, Bill.
Bill does say here, like, how deep is a fire hole? And it's funny because I know when I was out searching, I came across like a campfire ring. And I know we had like the metal detector over it. But like since I came back, I really wish maybe that I just would have taken the shovel and dug out the center of that fire hole ring, because it was like right in my area. And it's like it does eat at me, like, maybe it was buried way down below that.
If I can switch gears real quick and go back to that new article that came out today, and something stood out to me that Forrest said, and I've been watching the forums today since it came out, both on Chase Chat, both on Thor and on Harry's site. And one of the key things that everybody's kind of revolving and talking around is the fact that he's now saying he has a feeling that the person who finds it is not going to tell anyone. And that's completely different than what he said before, that he feels that the person who finds it's not going to be able to keep it a secret. So it's interesting that he's now saying that he feels like, again, like a gut feeling, that he has a feeling that the person who finds it is not going to tell anyone, that he's going to keep it completely secret.
I thought that was
so what are your guys' thoughts on that? Why has that changed? And why do you think
he also says that he will know when it's been found, though? So he will
know exactly.
Not necessarily they want to make it public, and maybe he knows.
So is that meaning that he doesn't need the person to find it to tell him that he's got, and there's all kinds of thoughts and crazy ones on the internet about some mechanisms he has to tell him, like, some kind of, beacon or something. I mean, there's all kinds of crazy stuff out there that could be true. I mean, I call them crazy, but
you can't even keep a flashlight out there for a year. It just, the batteries are like a pile of mush when you're done, and the whole thing is rusted to bits. There's no electronics. There's no cameras. There's no nothing, dude. There's going to be a rare coin, a one-of-a-kind coin that pops up on the market or something.
Yeah, I think I think there is I think there's either a trust in there or there is some kind of documentation to prove that you have legal ownership of it. I know Stephanie 30 Acre actually posted today on Joe Lewicki's Facebook group, The Thrill of the Chase of Forrest Fenn Treasure Hunter, whatever, I forget. I'm halfway down, so things get foggy the farther I go down. But she said something about how, like, she thinks it's a title to a land, like a deed or something. And she seemed very cryptic, like she knew exactly what she was talking about. But we'll see.
There's a lot of research on land. There's people out there that know their land title. Yeah, everything to do with Fenn, every bloody place.
But even like on the AGK thing, Gary Sandberg from Seattle had even asked, like, wonder how Fenn knows how it will be found. And I think it has to be something legal. I think there has to be some kind of legal documentation, because even 100 years from now, I mean, unless the apocalypse happens and the U.S. government fails, the one thing that's consistent is law. So I mean.
Well, I agree with that, and maybe the safe deposit box, maybe, some kind of a document, some kind of an IOU, something too good to pass up, And sure,
wasn't that Shannon? Wasn't that the show that you and I were on together with the AGK that they asked that? Was that the one show we were on together where they talked about what is that? Mm-hmm. One special item or whatever. Yeah. And we kind of went back and forth on that.
Yeah, I mean, like, what item would he put in that chest that he wouldn't talk about, and why? I mean, there has to be a good reason, and I think it has to be.
And I like DeCall. DeCall has a good theory about some kind of rare coin. I mean, let's take for instance even one rare coin that's out there is the 1933 Double Eagles. That there's only so many of them that are still hidden out there that people have that are not known about. And those coins alone, just one of those on an auction market could go for 10 or 20 million. I mean, the sky is the limit on what that coin could really go for. and that would be well beyond the worth of what, you know, the fair market value of just the gold value in that treasure chest, or even the intrinsic value and the celebrity value of that chest could be. So even just selling that one coin on the open market would be a hint to Forrest that, like, yep, somebody found the treasure because that coin is on the market, you know. I mean, or it could be like you know, DeCall, you've talked about a lot, you know, the Omega Man and going down all those rabbit holes on that. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff that could be counterfeit. It could be indeed, like Shannon is saying too. I mean, it's a
slap in the government's face. Here's one of my counterfeit coins. I threw them into the chest.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm nuts.
I mean, it's one of those things with his history. There might be something, you know, from his raid days that he might have gotten in trouble for. So maybe he slipped it into that treasure chest.
His
raid when he got raided. Okay. Maybe there was something he shouldn't have. Maybe he had in the chest and hid it, and then when the person goes to sell it, they're going to get, you know, arrested by the FBI. I mean. That's negatively thinking. I'm more optimistic that it's actually a trust.
He keeps saying they don't want to tell the IRS about it, but really, Fenn's like, they're not going to want to tell the FBI about it. It's in your hands now, buddy. You deal with it.
I'm only letting my imagination go loose, okay? But his middle name is Burke, which literally means murder.
About to get real, folks. Hold on.
I know. I'm just using my imagination here. I would never accuse Fenn. It's just but the treasure's in the forest, right? The treasure's in a Fenn, and maybe he had to murder somebody. Who knows? We're just tongue in cheek here, all right? But anything is possible.
Oh, we got. Have you guys seen anything in the chat room? They're just carrying on here.
I got
somebody saying they want to know what bar I'm in so they can drink.
There's a lot of things about how after parties attract the most interesting people. You know,
we got Bill Gorman. We got Bill Gorman. We got the most interesting man. We got the most interesting man on YouTube.
Bill, dude, I tried to watch one of your videos. I had to fast forward. I mean, you know what? We got the perfect job for you, though. We're going to have you look up secret ancient alien mounds on Google Earth, and you can just find some patterns on Google Earth and send it, submit it to the military and just say, hey, check out these ancient faces on the, I found Ra, the god Ra, the Egyptian god. That's in the mountains. And what's the other one? That Indian, the Indian wheat penny or the Indian penny?
Wait, on Earth?
Yeah, Google Earth. You can find these.
Well, I was asking because on Google Earth, you can actually go look at the surface of Mars. That's why I was asking, because I know on Mars,
on Earth, you can find.
Now we know where Warm Water's halt is.
You can find Ra.
You can find water on Mars.
R-A. I don't know how you pronounce it.
Hey, Bill, just north of where you're staying in Alamosa, don't they have that alien, that guy's got this property where he's got this alien telecommunication pad or something out there. I've seen it. I've driven up through that area going up on my job, but there's this place up there on 285 or something that this guy's got. I'm sure you're familiar with to know what I'm talking about, but you need to go up there and do a live show, Bill, and we can get some communication and with the aliens, see if they can help us find Warm Water Salt, man.
All right, David Kramer, he mentioned he's having a really hard time with how it's hidden and how it now may be under debris. And I just want to say I'm completely with you. When we went out searching, I remember there was a big pile of rocks, but it was covered by this long grass. I mean, we went before the grass actually grew, so it was dead grass. But you just think about how I think about how bad my yard looks if I don't weed it, for a month, if I don't weed whack and things like that. So, I mean, nature can definitely take over objects, and having it been out there for at least 8 years, I mean, between pine needles, grass, just sediments, we saw some rock slides and just earth moving. I mean, you could have an animal that came across and just died on top of it. So now it may be under bones. You just don't know. That thing could be hidden just by nature. And then if he decided to bury it too, that could be even worse, so
forget about it.
Yeah. I mean, seriously.
Well, and it goes back to that one question that was asked, and I forget who asked it. They asked, how far is the treasure from the blaze? And the answer that Forrest Fenn gave was, I didn't take the measurement, but logic tells me if you don't know where the blaze is, it really doesn't matter. But if you can find the blaze, the answer to your question will be obvious. And that one always sticks in me. And of course, we shouldn't be talking about the blaze unless we think we're really in the right area. But how is that so obvious? I don't think it's the blaze is some kind of marking on a rock that you look down at your feet and there's the treasure. My interpretation doesn't make me believe that that's the right answer. Now, that's not to say that it's not, but it just doesn't seem that simple to me. I don't know what you guys think on that, but
I think we're all
it comes down to how it's hidden.
Yeah.
But,
well, it was like somebody had posted on that Facebook group of the bronze grizzly bear statue outside of the Grizzly Bear Discovery Center, and how it had wood at the bottom. And I was thinking, if it's there, I'm going to shoot myself because I was right there. And obviously, that would have made perfect sense. Why didn't I think of that? And, kids would have an opportunity to better chance to find it because they would go over and crawl on it and play with it. And teenagers would go over and take selfies with it, so, but yeah, maybe we are just completely overthinking it. I will admit, after I saw that post on Facebook, I totally went back and looked at all the street names in West Yellowstone to see if I could take Canyon Street down and find No Place for the Meek. I was like, can I make this work? Couldn't, but
wouldn't that be a total burn on all of us? We would all be like, oh my God. Why didn't I think of that? I can't believe it.
Says that when it comes out, people be like, why didn't I think of that? So I was totally trying to get okay, warm water's hot. That might be the fire hole street. Okay. How can I make this work? And no,
that was Iron. I tried. Wasn't it Iron Will solve? He had that with all the streets, and he got burned really. We still can't figure out if he's messing with us or if he's really that DUM, dude, I think he's probably still mad at me. I told him to give up on, just quit playing the game if that's really his solve.
Well, you have to look at it.
He's caught a lot of flack for that.
It's hard. Take the canyon down. There is the end is ever drawing nigh. Canyon Street ends. It's a dead end street. Right. And then you got Boundary Street, which, he talks a lot about borders and boundaries. I can't lie. I had to at least look at it and analyze it. Took me maybe a day to analyze it, and rule it out. But I had to.
It does kind of prove that West Yellowstone is, part of Forrest Fenn's life, part of his heart. That's his place. Yeah. There's no denying that. If my philosophy is so simple that you start with Fenn's places, Fenn's heart, why in the hell would you go starting in Colorado when you got absolutely nothing? I only respect Sean's idea of literally following the poem, and I'm not saying any state specific for Sean, but okay, I'm going to take the cover of Too Far to Walk. We know that's a very good candidate for Madison Junction. It's probably the most obvious candidate. And I'm going to start there. I'm not going to make up my own damn place. I'm going to figure out what's important to Fenn and just let me eliminate that first, okay? Isn't that how you're supposed to play the game? You figure out what Fenn is talking about, and you go there, right? That's it. You just go there and check it out, and you eliminate it. I could never eliminate it. I'm just still finding, and I get to the end of following his instructions, and I find an 800-foot salamander and a floating hat. So what the hell do I do now? I have to keep going with it. It's like,
well, to me, it comes down to the priority of information. I've talked about a lot that we have just so much noise out there, but what is really the core or most important information to help us find this treasure? And to me, that's the poem. What comes secondary to that is obviously the thrill of the chase book. We can all agree that if Forrest Fenn would have, passed away or just totally, been an anonymous author, and that's all we had was a thrill of the chase book. We have to look at it from that perspective, that all we have is a thrill of the chase book, and we don't have everything else outside of that. So, where do we go from that? What is the priority of information? Is it the poem? Is it the poem and the book? And me as a poem purist, I look at it as just the poem. Again, we wouldn't have the information that he said, all the information you need to find the treasure in the poem. We wouldn't have that at all. So then we would have to be able to look at both the poem and the book all together. But we do have that information of Forrest Fenn, in fact, telling us that, all the information is in fact in the poem to find the treasure. The hints in the book, if you can find them, are helpful.
Yeah, I mean,
go ahead, Shannon.
Fenn said himself that, if you only had the poem, you wouldn't find it. Like, you need more than that. So, I mean, I do believe the poem is the most important thing. But I think you also need the book. I think you need the thrill of the chase, and the stories from there. And you can find some of those stories online. Like, you don't have to buy the book. Several of them were posted in the Bozeman Daily Chronicle. Yep. You Google, you can find that. But I think you have to have more than just the poem. And maybe you just need to be a heavy Googler and stuff. I mean, maybe that's all you need. But he has even said that the poem is not enough. Like, you need a map. You should have the book. Yep. Or at least a good map. So, I mean, sure. But yeah, my order is definitely poem, book. I think you have to have his interviews to know more about him as a man. And I think if you don't understand Fenn, you're never going to find it. You're never going to find it.
Yeah.
Well, I think even the earlier articles might have a little more precedence, not more than the book, of course, and probably not more than video, but some of the earliest articles, like you mentioned, probably have a higher value. And what was that? My War for Me, yes, and Lewis and Clark and Frosty, or whichever stories it was. Yep. I think those should have slightly higher value.
I think you can say poem, book, early interviews, probably the Q&As. And I think the Q&As would come before like the scrapbooks, because at least the Q&As, he's being asked a direct question, even though his answer is going to be pretty ambiguous. But I think that they take an importance over the scrapbook, because the scrapbooks are just him telling a story. And, we all can read, something into that and go, oh, well, that relates to my solve or whatever. It's very subjective for you to take that information and put it into what you believe is your solve, or him talking to you or whatever. So I think like the poem, the book, then probably, Q&As or early interviews right there would probably be about even. But Shannon, I think he said, in that question to that person, nope, if all they had was just the poem, in 500 years and nothing else, they didn't have the backstory or anything else. I think the thing that was missing from that, and he said many times, is that you still need a map, or the right map to then marry the clues to. So I think without the map, and I think the poem, by itself, if you read it right, can potentially tell you the correct geographical area to search in. Then you will know what map you need, and then you know how to marry those clues to. So yeah, without the map, the poem alone, yes, as a poem purist, I think that the poem is the foundation, but you still need a map to be able to marry the clues to.
So Sean,
and then, the book can still be helpful.
Sean, do you think these stories in the book are sort of like a parallel comparison to the actual treasure location? I mean, in my solve, I'm on the same trail as Forrest and Donnie were in the book. I mean, the picture on the cover of Thrill of the Chase is exactly where my solve is. I have absolute proof of where he was standing from Google Earth. Okay, but see, I know I'm different than you, but do you think that it's like parallel or symmetrical, these stories, or how do you put the book to good use then?
Well, I mean, DeCall, he's told us that, there are also other subtle clues sprinkled in the stories. If they're not deliberately placed and they're not, they're supposed to be subtle, meaning to be so delicate that they're hard to analyze, that I don't think that something like, him talking about a love for Yellowstone really is a subtle hint. Can I prove that is not a subtle hint? No, I cannot. Do I believe it to be? No. I mean, but that's based on my interpretation of the clues and where I'm searching. So yeah, I tell you right now, I'm not searching in Yellowstone. Yeah.
So Sean, Mama Llama and everybody else wants to know, what state are you searching in?
Keep asking.
The right state. The state where the treasure is.
Keep asking.
Guys.
We have to ask. Now,
it wouldn't matter if I told you or didn't, because half the people would, 25% of the people would say he's searching in the right state, and the other 75% of the people would say I'm searching in the wrong state. So,
hey, Sean, I don't know if you can see it, but it looks like we have a party crasher. If you look under your attendees on your computer, like on your Zoom, we have a party crasher. Can you see
I
him?
don't know what you're talking about. No.
Like you see participants? You have an attendee?
We got an attendee? Who's that? Jason Dent? Let's bring him in here. Let's see. We're going to promote him. Let's see, Jason.
Is this like a surprise attack?
Promote to
yeah,
this is awesome. We'll bring him in here. See if I can get him in here.
How did he find this?
There he is. Wait, hold on. Does he even have
Party crasher!
There he is. Yeah! All right. Let's get him in here. Unmute. Hey, Jason.
Hey,
what's
going on?
Hey, what's up, man?
Nice.
Hey, I figured it's time for your party to be crashed.
Come on, party crasher. What are you talking about? What's up, Jason? How are you?
Man,
are you drinking
good.
anything? Do you got a beer or you got to work tomorrow? What are you doing?
Man, we got a division run tomorrow at like 6 a.m. So, no fun for me tonight. Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, back when I was younger, I used to, stay out drinking until it was time for the run and then use the run to sober up. But, can't do that anymore.
Yep, you'd sweat it. You'd sweat it all out.
So how old are you, Jason?
Oh man, I'm getting up there.
45.
I'm not as old as Sean, but that's close. I'm
45, 43.
41,
what are you?
41.
41. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, just young.
You're definitely older than me.
No.
I was waiting for you. What are you doing, Jay?
Just hanging out. So, your room's getting kind of hostile, Y'all are like getting combative on your search locations there. I figure it's time to break it up a little bit.
No, it's all
well, we know you're searching New Mexico
here. Oh man, we have another Southern searcher there for you, Sean.
Yeah. Well, I'm developing another song.
Well, tell us about it.
Really can't.
Aren't you secret to people? I mean, come on. Like I laid it all out there.
We're outnumbering you.
Come on.
Well, here's the deal. I did do a live chat and I talked about it a little bit, and I'll put a link in that description. But actually making headway on it today, and it's kind of surprising where it's taken me and how specific of answers I'm getting to please. So it was kind of a much needed surprise for me.
Well, good luck. I really hope somebody finds it and somebody finds it soon, because I need to get my life back. That's for sure. So yeah, please somebody find this.
Need to get some sleep.
I sleep fine, but it's the waking hours. It's the car time. I could be learning how to speak Spanish or Turkish while I'm driving instead of watching all you guys on YouTube.
Hey,
so Jason,
let me interrupt.
What'd you think? Go ahead, DeCall. What do you got?
I got to apologize to Iron. Iron's here. I've thought of ever since you published Iron, no kidding, I've thought that we patched it up and that we're friends, and I still feel the same way, dude. Not kidding. It was like, honestly, my first reaction, I thought your saw was dumb. And I was too outspoken at the time. I still am not sounding very nice about that. I'm sorry, dude. You and I have been in this chase for a while. I consider you friends, and I think we all you've presented a lot of great ideas. I think we all agree on that. I don't mean it that way. It's just we all jump on different solves, and I don't know how to explain it, but I don't think it's dumb at all, dude. Hard to explain, but trying to apologize sincerely, that's for sure.
Well,
it's all fun and games and war in the Forrest Fenn treasure hunt.
Iron, didn't you and Why Must I Go make up? Didn't you say on my last live show you guys made up? That's good. Why Must Go's a good guy. Him and I have had our differences, but we've definitely made up too. So Jason, what did
I don't think
you?
I've gotten in a fight with anybody yet. I mean, am I like the one, like the odd man out who's like, trying to remain peaceful with everybody and respectful, I definitely believe the way
Yeah.
I feel. I think Troy.
Sometimes debate can be fun and can be educational.
Yeah, I think Troy had it against me at first, and then like we took it off privately, and I was like, and he totally had mad respect for me about why I was doing it and everything. So he changed his mind really fast, so that was good.
Anybody seen Why tonight? Has he been hanging out at all?
I have not seen him, no, but I do want to thank the chat group.
Video together.
Yeah, I do want to thank the chat room though, because everything that we don't know, you guys definitely have been putting in the answers to. Like Sledneck said that it was Maddie's grave, which is over by the fire hole. So thank you, Sledneck. You guys really like. There's actually definitions for what an isthmus. I told you I couldn't say this after like more drinks. An isthmus. But apparently, even Alexa didn't do a very good job at describing it to somebody, which was hilarious. I saw that one. That was so funny. But
hey, I saw Buddy Allen's in here. Hey, Buddy, how are you doing? I'm trying to catch up on some of the chat in here, but Buddy, I know you asked me the other day where I get my shirts on one of my videos. My wife gets them for me. I just wear whatever she gives me.
Smart man.
Kind of like my shirt tonight.
You guys know Buddy Allen was in The Lure?
Yes, he was. Yeah. I
don't know if that's top secret info, buddy, but we got you now.
All right,
we know who you are.
Panel, do you think the hints are in the pics or versus the text in The Thrill of the Chase? Which do you think do you go off more if you're looking at the book? Do you look at the pics or the text?
What do you think, Jason? Jason, you haven't said anything yet. Come on.
Yeah,
pipe up in here, you party crasher.
So they're in both, I believe. I think the most valuable picture is on 99. I don't really pay much credence to the photographs, but in the stories, I do think there's some stuff there, but it's so minuscule. It might just be a word or two words in there, but not intentionally placed. But it relates to the answers to the clues in the poem. But I think it's just like happenstance, just like, all the answers are in the alphabet. You just got to put the letters in the right order.
Yeah, but Jason, it's like some people are getting these damn little squiggly lines. I don't think an 80-year-old guy has time to figure out squiggly lines, okay? But I do think he has time to just do a simple picture, and it just means what the picture is. That's all it means, But it might mean something. Maybe we're looking for a field of stumps out there in the woods. Maybe we're looking for like I look at the gypsies dancing around. I see a fire right in the center, and I see a bunch of wagons. I see a circle dot, with the flaming fire in the middle. I see Forrest Fenn under the wagon at the 2 o'clock position.
Right, exactly. So, I don't think, I don't think there's anything written, in real fine print that you'd need a 16 by magnifying loupe. I think that the pictures are there as pictures, but those pictures relate to the answers to the clues in the poem.
And people can chase the squigglies. I don't care. Have at it. I mean, I just don't think Fenn is capable. He's a storyteller. He's not a squiggly lines graphics artist. He's not a code breaker from the war. He's just a simple guy telling stories. So, that's how we're supposed to use the picture.
I think there can be symbolism in some of the pictures, and let's just take the cover of The Thrill of the Chase that I know most of us probably pull off our book and we stuff somewhere if you're anything like me. But if you look at the cover of The Thrill of the Chase, he's got a picture of when he's probably about 8 or 9. Then he's got a picture of when he's a teenager, probably 17 or 18, when he's with Donnie up in in the Lewis and Clark chapter. And then he's got a picture of him when he's probably early 30s or something as he's stepping up into the airplane. So it's in my mind, I look at that and I go, it's kind of like a coming of age story, much like, the J.D. Salinger book, The Catcher in the Rye. It is a coming of age story. So there's a little bit of symbolism there that, the thrill of the chase and the stories that are encapsulated within the thrill of the chase, begin, like he says, from when his first awakening or whatever, from first grade all the way to through my war for me, through him having cancer, and through the epilogue of him asking himself, what has he learned in those 79 years of his life? It is like that coming of age story of growing up like J.D. Salinger. And I see, for me, I look at the stories in The Thrill of the Chase, and I look at them as, while everybody else is trying to look for subtle hints and everything else in the stories, I kind of look at it and I try and interpret, what is Forrest Fenn trying to teach us? Because remember, this book is not only for us who is looking for the treasure, but this book was also written for his family to know a little bit more about him and Peggy and his life. So it's a passing on somewhat of knowledge to his family and to us at the same time. And if we were just given the answers to life and how we're supposed to do things, we're not going to appreciate, how about coming to those things. We learn nothing from them if we're just given the answers. It's the process of learning and understanding what he's trying to teach us in those stories. And that's just the way I look at it. Of course, we all know that there are subtle hints that are supposed to be spread out within those, but at the same time, look at those stories and try and figure out what he's teaching us. I believe that there's a lot of lessons from a man who's lived life well that we can learn from those stories. And okay, I'll quit rambling on about that.
Well, no, Sean.
Shannon,
so
you're smiling over there. What do you got?
I got a follow-up question for Sean.
Okay, well, first, I'm just laughing at some of the chat room. Iron actually put, at Flip, he said, Shannon said in one of her first videos that one of her theories of Forrest's special place was where Forrest cheated on Peggy while married. Forrest told me it's disgusting.
Oh, this guy down here is going to like that. He's going to like that. That's all to call it.
I said it kind of like joking and sarcastically, like, oh, why did he take it out of his autobiography? Maybe it was something he wasn't proud of. And I also said, well, maybe it was where he I don't actually know if I said it, but maybe it was where he kissed a boy or had one of those Brokeback Mountain things. You never know.
Guys, I told you, it's Forrest. She said it, not me.
But he took it out. He took it out for a reason, and and we don't know what that reason was. Yeah. Maybe it was just too personal. Maybe he isn't comfortable. Yeah. I know that there is a lot of whispers about inappropriate behavior with Fenn, and whether women make it up because that's what women do sometimes.
No, it's not made up.
Well, so Lord knows what the truth is. We all know that some women take things out of context and they think things in their head. I am a woman, and I will admit sometimes we are crazy. That's what women are. We are hormonal, praying, crazy people. And that's why you men love us.
You are hot cognitives. I keep saying that. Women are, not all women, but there is hot cognition, there's cold cognition.
Sometimes women make up things in their head that isn't reality. I had my entire 20s that I can contest to that. So,
just called you a hot cock.
But
Shelly's going to get mad because now you're the hot cognitive, and she's going to get mad. She thinks I'm cheating on you. Shelly,
let me tell you what,
Shelly, you're still my hot cognitive.
Come on. Did Shelly look good in that tank top tonight?
That was a little Kevin, I'm just saying.
She looked pretty good in that tank
Shelly,
top tonight.
very beautiful. Yes,
I almost made a comment on that. We were talking, Jason and I were talking about Toby's hair, but really I wanted to be like, Shelly, nice tank top.
So Jason, what were you going to say? Jason, you were going to say something, a follow-up question or something.
Well, now that Shannon's imparted all her wisdom,
Shannon just totally derailed the conversation.
Totally different way. But, no,
okay,
my question
everybody,
was,
tell the kids to go to bed. It's getting real now.
They should already be in bed. It's 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time.
What is it? We're not even paying attention to the chat room. What are they even saying?
You're not missing.
They're good. They're awesome. They are having fun and they're being themselves.
Have fun, guys.
Poor Eric Smith is moderating himself. Eric Smith keeps taking away his own comments. I'm like, Eric, you don't have to do that. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah, you can leave all those comments.
Guys, there's no moderation. Say whatever you want to say.
And David Kramer, I keep filling my own glass. Thank you.
It's a never-ending cup.
Cheers, David.
So, Jason, how many Omegas are in the Thrill of the Chase? Come on, man, out with it.
Oh, I have no idea. I'll say 2. I have no idea. I was going to ask Sean.
David. Toby did have North Korean hair today. I did see that. That was funny. Go ahead. Go ahead, Jason. Sorry, we cut you off.
So you said Forrest is trying to teach us, life lessons and stories, or through his stories in the book. Well, how do those relate to the poem and the clues in the poem?
I don't think they relate at all. Again, I think that book was not just written for us. I mean, that's very narcissistic to think that the book was specifically written for us searchers. Again, he had said one of the genesis of him writing that book is that his daughters didn't know who Clark Gable was. And that like surprised him. He was like, well, man, I don't want my daughters and my family and my grandkids growing up not knowing who I was. And who Peggy and I were and how we met and our life story. So I think that was a big part of it. But I think that, and maybe it's just the way I read things, but I think subliminally he is teaching us lessons in that story. And I think that even Marvin himself taught him a lesson. If you understand or you read the Father on the Banco chapter, where it is about Forrest doing that deal with a couple of customers, and then his dad walking up and looking at the deal and saying, son, you made more money in 15 minutes than it cost for my home, and it took me 20 years to pay that off. And Forrest said it was a very melancholy moment for him, that because his father worked so adroitly all his life in teaching children, and here all I'd ever done is just take care of myself and my family. So it was kind of a very humbling experience for him. And so I think that the thrill of the chase, evolved from one who was going to take it with him, like Ralph Lauren saying you can't take it with you. He's like, well, screw that. I'm going to take it with me, to one of a man who teaches a child, labors with God in his workshop. So he's teaching us all, but he's not giving us the answers. He's not telling us this is how you live your life or this is how you do things. He's teaching us through the stories and the chapters. And I can go on a whole thing on important literature when I think about that. And that's a whole video I could do. But while everybody I think is looking for subtle hints in the book, they're missing the bigger picture and what the stories, what I think he's trying to teach us. And that's just my opinion. It doesn't mean it's right, but sorry. 5,000 words or less.
Dale Richards was asking me what I say about Toby's hair tonight. Well, I told him it was looking pretty dapper, and I asked if he was a Dapper Dan man or a Paul Made.
Yeah, I was on slow mode. I totally hit the dapper, and then I saw your comment, and then I could finally hit the enter button, and I was like, he looked like an English, I have friends that live in England have the same hairstyle. I was like, man.
I was thinking Kid and Play.
Oh, that's a good one.
Dude, it was not that high. It was not that high.
Yeah, I got the evidence.
You couldn't put a pick in it.
I'm going to share screen for a second. You ready?
Okay.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
There it is, Fenn chasing other women. Or is that Peggy?
Peggy, I hope you're not watching.
I mean, come on.
It's all this guy down there's fault.
I mean, come on. You guys have to say that you've at least thought of it. I mean, they were in Santa Fe, during in like the middle of the art scene. Friends with what was her name? Suzanne
70s.
Summers. I mean, come on. You can't say that there probably wasn't a swinger party at that Fenn Gallery. I mean, come on.
Whoa! Shit just got real, folks.
I mean, come on. You've seen the pictures. You can't just wonder, right? He's not a Christian.
Yeah, they had
man.
Dennis Hopper over there.
He's spiritual, not religious. I mean, there might be nothing wrong with that. I mean, think open-minded.
Oh, you're gonna get the call all fired up here.
All except for his marriage vows, it's fine. The vows, they're still intact. Peggy said it's okay.
But I mean, people can still be faithful to their partner, just, have sexual exploration as long as they discuss the open relationship in advance.
There we go. Peggy was there helping out.
If it's consensual to all parties.
NC-17 to I don't know where, folks.
Hey.
Boy, one heck of a show to crash.
It's great. I told you guys, we're no guarantee.
This is no old fart. We can talk about whatever, right? This is like you said, no moderators. Right. We'll see if I'm back.
Yeah, we just went from 50 viewers to 120. Good job, Shannon.
You're welcome. And we're completely screwing his chance of ever getting monetized. But hey,
there may be people that have evidence of that, which we're not going to talk about. I don't. Yeah, none of us have the facts. None of us here, us four, have the facts, and I don't want to have the facts. Plenty of innocent people involved, so it's not like I'm apologizing, but I'm not going to accuse Fenn of anything, including murder, or counterfeiting or cheating on his wife. I'm not.
Murder? What? Murder? Wait. Hold on.
His middle name.
What?
Have you
Okay.
looked up his
How
middle?
do we go from swinger
How do
parties
we
to
go
murder?
to murder?
My God, that just, I have
No,
no idea what's going on.
I've seen a lot on the chat.
Places
I
I
Go
would-
back. All right. Here's where you find the murder. Okay. This is all fictitious and imaginary. Okay. But go back and read the floating hat. Okay. Why did he go on and on about Dither ending up dead and the hole in the hat and the barbed wire having something to do with it? Okay. And what's all this guilt talk and secrets talk? I forgot to pick up a loaf of bread. Is that a secret or is it something deeper? I think there really is something to some sort of confession in the floating hat scrapbook, but that's just how I see it. But fine. I mean, Fenn's saying something. What the hell is he saying? It's screaming to be told. And he did use the words. If you go back and look at the Driftwood episode, there might be some parallelisms for killing somebody in that one too. Go look at that one. There was two versions. The one that ended up in Once Upon a While, and the original version of the Driftwood poem. Read that again like it's murder. But this is, I go through every item, every scrapbook in my own special way, and okay, that's just something that's out there. I mean, Fenn's confessing to something. What the hell is he confessing to? And
you mentioned Scrapbook 164, and I'm going to try and redirect this. Okay, but
don't worry.
164, I love Scrapbook 164 because he references Poe, and there's a lot of Poe references in that scrapbook. And again, I go back to the Gold Bug and how. Forrest Fenn has said that no other stories really influenced him, but some of the only stories he read about treasure were treasures that were hidden by pirates. And again, we got to look at, Forrest Fenn, again, is not a Goonies guy. He's not a Indiana Jones. He's not a National Treasure guy. He's a Treasure Island. He's a Gold Bug. He's those kind of stories because those are stories that he grew up with and that influenced him. And I think that those things might have had some sort of influence on how he may have put this whole thing together. So, again, Scrapbook 164, the one that does have that driftwood art and the poem that he put in there. If you really read it, there is a lot of Poe references, in there. And I really like that. So, trying to redirect a little. What are you doing, Shannon? What are you reading?
Oh no, I'm texting on the group, so just keep the conversation going. I'm occupied.
Jason, what are you thinking about down there?
Thinking about how you're going to segue into a different part of the conversation.
I just tried.
Yeah.
Let me give you something else that's in a clean direction.
Okay.
We were going to talk about the first stanza. I know we don't have time to go into it, but what do you think about the arsenic in the first word of the poem? Have you guys considered that at all? The reason I consider that is because if Fenn caught...
And when you say arsenic, you're talking about the
first word of the poem being the first thing that started this whole treasure hunt because he got cancer, kidney cancer, and the most probable reason he got kidney cancer was because of arsenic. And so it makes perfect sense that the first word of the poem was the trigger of this whole entire situation. And now I'll give you some other important info. If you're going to put a dot on the map where arsenic is most prominent in the Rocky Mountains, the highest possible arsenic anywhere in the Rocky Mountains is at Madison Junction. Okay, and so he certainly was in that river, drank that water, and certainly got kidney cancer. But and then arsenic symbol is the double X, missing double X. I mean, so I think there's a lot of possibilities to talk about. I don't think it's absolutely certain, but I do think it's interesting that the first word is arsenic and the last word is gold. Two elements.
Sure.
worthy of
Well,
this.
I mean, again, it goes back to those double entendres we talked about. You know, there could be double meanings to the whole entire poem. While there's that direct path that's supposed to be straightforward, there could also be, you know, those double entendre meanings that could be about death. It could be about, you know, his fight with cancer and everything else. I mean, again, the man took 15 years to put this thing together, and you know, everything should be on the table. Everything should be on the table until we, you know, one of us actually plucks this thing out of the dirt. I mean, you cannot rule out anything.
And that's all I'm saying. It's in the poem. So is it something Fenn intended? That's the real question. Was it intentional?
But again, I think personally, if the poem was nothing about metaphors and symbolism, it would be, you know, like Man Alone says, it would be a complete, you know, like the lottery. The odds would be just so high that there has to be some kind of mechanism or something to lead somebody that, like he says, the poem is straightforward to lead us to the poem, or excuse me, to lead us to the treasure.
Wouldn't it be interesting?
But again, that doesn't rule out double entendre.
Wouldn't it be interesting if he's trying to tell us to start with Yellowstone with the first line? I mean, arsenic is a yellow stone. Credit to Wolf for that idea. The last word of the poem is a yellow stone, gold. Okay. The arsenic content in the Rocky Mountains is pointing directly to Yellowstone. So it would be kind of brilliant if this is not just simple luck, but brilliant that Fenn is both saying Yellowstone, where to start, with simply the first line. I mean, it's a possibility.
I'm gonna step away for 1 sec. Nature calls. So you guys keep this going. I'm gonna be right back.
What do you guys, Shannon? What do you want to talk about?
Oh gosh, what should we talk about?
Well, I could hog the conversation. I could go on for days, but.
Yes, you definitely like the way you think. I know that. Yeah, that's for sure. So, Jason, Party Crasher. You're on the spot. You're on the spot now.
Did you get in here? That's what I want to know.
You know, working in communications, you know, and trained by the military has its advantages with all.
Really?
Yeah.
So was that a true hack or what?
I can't tell you. That ruined the fun.
If bloody Sean didn't tell me anything, I don't know what the hell.
Oh, Sean didn't know anything about it.
Yeah, dude.
No, nobody knows. You know, I'm putting my problem-solving skills to work. You know, I want to practice for recovering this chest. So I decided that you guys would be a worthy challenge.
All I know is if you people out there have not seen his video with the thank you letters, I mean, it was incredible. I mean, literally, I was at the gym last night finally watching them, and I was so flattered he wrote me a thank you letter. But I mean, seriously, I was like busting out laughing in the gym, you know, doing my squats, trying not to like pee myself as I'm laughing to this video. But, you know, so thank you.
Look, there's more thank you letters coming this week.
Oh no, I'm scared.
There's a fine line between you know, sarcasm and comedy.
Yes.
You know?
And then Sean did like your welcome letters, which were even more hilarious. I was like, because like I saw his thing first, and then I watched yours, and I was like, oh my gosh, that was great.
Yeah, well played on the welcome letters. Sean. Well played.
Yeah, that was good.
I loved yours. Yours were awesome. Your thank you letters were great. The timing just worked out. If you understand my welcome letters, the timing worked out just the way I wanted it.
Well,
what did I miss? What happened? What's going on?
Truth be told, Sean, I was going to do the video for the welcome letters, for the thank you notes. Contact you so you could throw it in to your weekend update to do kind of that whole night show, late night show theme. But then I went ahead and just posted it myself.
Well, and I learned a little bit about the weekend update that I think most people appreciate it for just getting the facts and understanding what's happened that week in the chase, and then kind of doing an opinion piece at the end that kind of keeps my opinion out of it. I mean, I watch CNN, I watch Fox News or MSN, and it's always, you get these biased opinion pieces on stuff. And I just want to get the facts out there and what happened, what's happened during that week. And at the end of it, if there's something that I find is of interest, I'll talk about that and give my opinion on it. But I think people are there not to get my opinion. I mean, you can get that on the forums or you can get it on my videos, but for the most people, I think that they want to go to that weekend update to just get an update on what happened that week.
Well, exactly.
So I try and keep that bias.
I appreciate it. So I appreciate it because, I'm not a member of all the forums and I don't have time throughout the week to check up on them all. So, that's a very valuable update for me. And you're right, just putting the information out there. Maybe you can put links in the description below for the things you're talking about.
Yeah, I forgot to do it this week and I've been busy. I haven't done it, but yeah, you're right. Yep.
But great addition to the community, I think.
Yeah, yes, I would say with so many more Fenn tubers out there and everything, like I am days behind on my YouTube videos. Like my subscriptions, I admit it, like I'm so far behind. But so I love your weekly updates. Thank you. Bow down to the Sean Meister. Yes, thank you for that weekly update. Love it.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. One thing I gotta let people know is on the link, I can't put the individual links to every video now because we're getting so many different Fenn tubers and people are putting out great content that I can only put the link to people's YouTube channel. And then you'll have to, from there, then find the exact video I'm talking about because there's too much stuff in there and YouTube only allows me to put so much stuff in that description. And I was getting well beyond the characters. So if I don't give you the exact link to that exact video, whether that be Jason's or DeCall's or Shannon's or Manilone's or anybody else, I have to just give you to their channel and then go try and find that one. And hopefully that helps you to look it up. So I've got like 2 beers over here. I'm way behind.
Dale Richards, decall. How many methods have you tried to decall? I don't really.
We're getting some bad feedback.
Yeah, there's a lot of feedback all of a sudden.
There's no wind in my house, so. I don't have, the only method I have, and people think I have all these strange ideas, which I do, but my only method is to just take Fenn literally, and when he says take it in the canyon down, I don't go south, I just simply go down. When he says up your creek, I just find a creek, the next available creek, and go up it. When I'm at the top of the creek looking for water high, instead of going left, I go towards Lewis and Clark. If I knew the Lewis and Clark story is one direction, I'll look over there first. My method is really simple. I'm not looking for any codes in the poem, but I do try and think, how is Fenn writing the poem? How does he solve the problems that he's trying to solve? I mean, every line of the poem can be confusing, so we're always asking ourselves, why did Fenn write that? What is he trying to accomplish? And, so there's the simple way, and then there's all this thought process about every single word, every single line. What is he trying to tell us? That's my method. It's not much. But if you come across a giant salamander and a floating hat, I mean, you stick with it. I mean, there's what's better than that? I always say I got the best solve on the internet.
Well, then go get it, DeCall. Go get the damn treasure then.
My wife,
stop talking about it. Just go get it.
No, I spent the last 2 years looking in Mini Lake in the water. Then Fenn says it's not in the water, so I lost 2 full seasons. $1,000 a trip, several days out there.
Well, I guess you're gonna have to get in another fight with your wife and go get this treasure, huh?
I'm willing to fight, but
he will kick your ass, DeCall. I know that.
She has already kicked my ass.
That's a good woman there. That's a good woman. Hold on to her.
Lovely woman. There is, like I've said before, there is no competing this sucky game with my wife. Far lovelier than this stupid game. I will not risk anything for. I do what I can. Talk her into it once a year or so. Maybe by the end of this season, I can have enough bills paid off to get out again.
I still got to figure out where I want to go search again. Man.
What is?
Gotta go where the treasure is.
What line are you?
Wait. Hold on to call. The last live show, Shannon said she was going to pimp herself out for people to go searching with them. So
that is not what I said.
I do remember
that.
I do remember that
auction. Now we're going to have the Shannon pimp out auction on eBay.
That's definitely not what I said. Okay.
I
said since all these Forrest Fenn treasure people have lots of money to spend, I will consider, being like a helper for hire. That's different. I think Sean was the one who said something about
Roll Tide. Where are you?
Auctioning me off.
Roll Tide. Where are you? Is she not synonymous with what she's saying to pimping herself out? Come on.
No, completely different. No. For hire, for searching purposes.
Talk about swinging, but you don't want to talk about pimping yourself.
No. There are a few lines that I will not cross. There are maybe a few things I have never done for money, and we will stick with that.
Good job. I like talking about moral boundaries.
The viewers just went up by 10 again. There we go.
I mean, really, if you think about it, you're not going to put your heart into.
Bill just said he'd show you his solve.
But I'm saying to go where I think the treasure is. I'll take you where I think the treasure is. If you will fund it, and then we can split it. That would be different.
So what line do you? I mean, you're past no place for the meek. Where do you think you're at, or what are you looking for?
Actually, somebody had mentioned it in the live chat, and I apologize who it was, but it was like brave and in the wood. That's the part. Like there's, like how do I even say this? Like I'm still, like you'll see on my Warm Waters Halt video, I'm still very much, I still believe Madison Junction's a very good warm water salt. And you'll see that I definitely give mass credit to the warm water salt in New Mexico too. But I think it's so much of the other warm water salt out there, like Cynthia said about like the tears at the memorial, like they're hot springs, like you're going to see me disprove the hot spring thing. Like you're going to see me disprove so many things in my video. But like, I still think Madison Junction is the starting point, and it's like, I'm so instinctual, and that's the person I am. I go by gut feelings, and it's like, it tears me up. And, I watched Joel's like videos here lately when it comes to like Barnes Hole and Baker's Hole and all that, but he kind of goes down the river and then he comes back up the river, which I'm like, I don't know about that so much, but I still think I was in the right place. I just, that
what's wrong with your gut feeling when you're thinking about the dang Madison slide? I mean, that's as dangerous as it gets. I don't think treasure can be there.
Because it's one of those things, like, to me, like, it was so perfect, but when you're there, if the Madison slide is ablaze, you can't just look down and figure out where the treasure is. There's no braving in the wood down there at the bottom of the Madison slide. Like, we searched everything, and I know Joel said something about juniper bushes, and Lord knows we found juniper bushes, and I searched all through those darn things, and they're not easy to search through because they were right on the north of the slide. Like, there was a bunch of them. But then, like, I was thinking too, like the blaze, like, because like the Army Corps of Engineers had to create the Madison River, so maybe that was a blaze. They were creating a trail for the Madison River. Maybe it was past that. But I mean, we searched almost every single possible area there, so that unless it was actually buried like in the ground, that would be the only thing that we missed. And I mean, but it's like that phrase kept going through my head the entire time we were searching, and it wasn't a line in the poem that I particularly spent a lot of time thinking about before we left. But when I was there, it just kept going through my head, braving in the wood, braving in the wood, braving in the wood. And it drove me insane.
I think you're missing something in that potentially, and that is the word if. And I'll give some homework to some people, but look up the word if and the word so. When you place those words at the beginning of a sentence, they do something to that, a complete sentence. And when you place the word if at the beginning of a sentence, it makes that clause what's called a conditional clause. And I mean, that may seem obvious because it's if you don't brush your teeth will fall out. I mean, if you don't change the oil in your car, your motor will freeze up. If you are brave and in the wood, I give you title to the gold. So he's giving you a conditional clause. He's telling you, if you are brave and in the wood, it's two separate things. You have to be brave and then in the wood. So what are we doing that we must be brave for? And then I go back to that line, it's no place for the meek. So what is the opposite of meek, of those people that are brave? So I think it's a conditional clause that he's telling you towards the end of it.
In the wood is in the wood like a set of trees or
Whoa.
Like for me, I search every group of trees: forest, down trees, up trees, alive trees, dead trees, falling apart trees. I mean, we rolled over logs that was probably there for 20 years. I mean, like, we searched everything. I mean, there were trees that I walked up to and I was like, it has to be here. I mean, like, like, I mean,
but are we talking about trees?
Poem. Well, that's only if the poem is verbatim. If that line in that poem is a verbatim clue.
Yeah.
So basically he's giving you the answer if you're looking at it that way. He's not giving you a clue. So you'd almost have to figure out what the answer to that clue is in order to figure out where it's at.
And I think it may be underestimated.
Do you think that in the wood is a directional clue, or do you think that brave and in the wood is a confirmation clue? Because I think that, it's possible that the directional clues are only contained within stanzas 2, 3, and 4. And a confirmation clue that you potentially be in the right place or looking in the right place or how it is hidden could be a confirmation clue. Again, all same clues. So it doesn't matter if you want to call them hints or clues or whatever. But
let me tell you,
only if you're reading it verbatim. So if you're not doing that, if you're trying to figure out what the answer to that clue is, then it has a whole different meaning. So you might not even be looking for actual waters. You might not actually looking for a canyon or an actual home of brown, because those things translate to other words that give you directions to where to go.
Yeah, I mean, in mine, I mean, I love what you're saying, Jason. In mine, I mean, so what do you do if you find something that fits? My mini lake is named after Minnie Hollowood, who was awarded the headdress for bravery in the Battle of Little Bighorn. Okay, that ties back to Fenn's peace pipe. It is brave, and it's certainly in the wood. And I mean, so
you're not brave. You're not in the wood. Minnie's brave, and
you got to be like her. Okay, you got to be. And Fenn
he didn't say be like somebody else.
He said.
No, I'm thrilled that you're contesting my argument. I love it. I'm waiting for anybody to contest the goddamn song. It's like, hello, and I don't think I have to be right. I just think, okay, if you stumble across a floating hat and the floating hat is named after an Indian warrior whose name is Hollywood, I mean, wow, we got a pretty dang good fit. I'm not saying Sean and I argue all the time about, a good fit doesn't make a correct solve. It's just a fantastic, spectacular fit,
Yeah. Hey, look, my boots on the ground. I was 100% on. I went there several times unsuccessfully, came back without the treasure, and I thought I was 100%. So I had to relook things. Okay, what am I missing? Because if I read the poem verbatim, I can clearly identify, where Warm Waters Halt, what the canyon is, how far it is to the home of Brown, and every clue lines up exactly, but there's no blaze. So of course I'm in the wrong location, but maybe I'm not interpreting it correctly.
But we all line up our clues and how we interpret them perfectly. I mean, every one of us does that. I mean, every one of us has a solve that lines up perfectly, and there's a million, and most of those perfectly lined up solves have, hundreds of coincidences that make them believe or give them confidence that they're in the right place. It doesn't mean that confidence is accurate. It just gives you confidence. And again, why I believe that sticking to just the words in the poem will help mitigate that stuff as much as possible. I mean, if you're, the hints in the book can give you confidence, but is that true confidence or is that false confidence? It's, man, it's so hard to really explain that.
Yeah, Bill
Go ahead,
Gorman
Jason,
said
what do
it
you got?
best. Bill Gorman said it best in chat just now. When you find something that fits, you share it with the community so they can throw darts at it. I mean,
You're
that's the truest
absolutely
words
right,
there.
Bill. Yeah. Well, who was it that said it before that nothing ruins a perfectly good solve like boots on the ground?
Yep, that's me
Was that
right
you?
there.
Yeah, I thought it was
Yeah.
you. Yeah, that's one of the best. That is a great quote, and it's so true. Nothing ruins a perfectly good solve like boots on the ground. You know, it looks perfectly great when you're sitting at home in the armchair and you've got tens of hundreds of coincidences and confirmations that just give you that confidence. And then you get out there and you're like, holy shit, I got to look under every rock out here.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean,
my solve looked great all the way up until I came home. So
Yeah. I mean, like seriously, we didn't even get a hotel because I was like, I don't want to get a hotel because if we find it the first day out there, I don't want to be stuck paying for a hotel for a week. So I mean,
Right.
literally, we did like when we landed, I was like, okay, well, obviously we can't get to the spot. We'll get one night, and then we got like I think I got one night, and then 3 nights, and then another 3 nights, because it was like I was so sure of it. And it's one of those things like if you've never been boots on the ground, you have no idea what the reality is until you're out there. And I mean,
yeah.
I have a whole bunch of videos before I went boots on the ground that you guys will never see because I was this cocky, arrogant person who was like, I know where it's at and I'm going to show you all, you know, and I would watch things and then I would do a video because I wanted to document like the process. And yeah, nobody's ever going to see them. Never.
Yeah.
Come
We
on,
wanna see
you
'em.
heard on the strawberry.
Come on.
You heard on the strawberry, so hang it up.
in
No,
the chat,
it was so bad.
they said, everyone say hi to Forrest. You know, I got an email from Forrest today. I was talking to him about if he watches, you know, everybody's YouTube channels and, you know, if he enjoys watching them and all that. And he answered with yes, you know, all capital letters. Yes, he loves watching all these YouTube channels. And
Oh,
everybody
crap.
talking
I want to
about
hear
that.
it.
But
Yeah, I think that
Well,
was-
hey,
so
Forrest,
he might be
come
in
on,
it.
Forrest, give us
Hey,
a shout
Forrest.
out. Give us a
That
shout
was
out.
the
Say
last-
something about
that was the last
after
email he
hours
replied
show.
to me was when I sent like Troy, Why Must I Go was like, you need to send Forrest your links. And I did. And that was the last email that he replied to. I think I've sent him like 3 more and he has not replied to any of them. And I'm like,
Uh-oh, you made
here
him
we
mad.
go again. No, I mean, he does that.
Peggy's jealous.
It's like, you know, I've also noticed time of day definitely affects it. Like if I wake up and I email him, you know, it's like 7, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. He does not reply. But if I email him at like 4 or 5
He's
o'clock
still in bed
Eastern
thinking.
Standard Time,
Remember
yeah,
that
then,
1 hour he's got in bed
yeah,
thinking.
like you gotta wait until like midday. He'll respond to more of those emails. But yeah.
According to Becky, West Virginia, he's up all night. So
Journeyman, you said I look scared. Do I? No, I'm almost on my 2nd glass of alcohol. I'm just nervous now.
Is that scared or
where's Steve
scarred?
at? Where's Steve at? What's he doing?
Scared, scarred. Like I said, Steve does not support the YouTube videos. Okay. So Steve will be sleeping on the couch tonight. So just saying.
Steve, what are you thinking? Come on, Steve. Give us some love.
Yeah,
No.
just embrace it. Just
No.
embrace the fate.
500.
Maybe there's a reason why Sean's in a bar tonight. Like, and normally I'm in a hotel, but you know, who knows? But anyway, yeah.
I told everybody in the chat, I walked down to the bar tonight. It's within walking distance, and I am walking home because I am on my 3rd beer tonight, and I'm doing good. And I don't know, Minotaur Marino, am I getting mean? Am I being a nasty person now? Come on. You know what I'm talking about. It's that awkward pause.
Oh,
Yes.
it's
Awkward
not awkward.
Yes.
I talk too much. Don't worry. So I'm keeping it zipped because I talk way too much.
I can't keep up with the chat. That's the thing. It's like
Yeah, they're going after it.
I mean, they're awesome tonight.
Yeah.
You know, I think
We're
Iron.
staying steady about 50. We hit 60 tonight, I think, is what we hit as far as
Yeah.
people watching. Pretty good.
I think I have my first person who doesn't like me. I think Iron is totally against me now. I'm sorry, Iron. Don't hate me.
23 23 Monarcha. What the hell is that? And 23 Monarcha knows where the treasure is. Holy crap. Like, we should just hang up the phone right now, right?
Go run out.
Hey,
There's
you know,
like
23
thousands of
Monarcha.
persons that knows where it is.
Yeah,
There's
23
only
Monarcha
one
is in
person
El
that
Paso
knows where it
also.
is, and that is Forrest.
Yes. Only one
Now,
person.
somebody in the community is in the 200-foot club. Ben said that. Did you hear that, Shannon?
Yeah, he did.
Okay.
What?
So
Wait, hold on. What, you said the 20-foot club?
200-foot club.
Oh, yeah.
200-foot club.
Okay.
He didn't say it that way. Come on. He just said, the guy that's within 200 feet, he said, he said one of the people is known in the search community, like on the blogs.
Yeah, he did.
But is that going clear back to his 2013-14 statement of 200 feet? Or is that more recent than that?
And we don't know. I mean, we don't know who that person is or how often they chat.
Whoa. In 2017, in the 6 questions, Jenny Kyle asked him that, or it might have been somebody else that asked him that direct question. You know, is it somebody, or those people that are within 200 feet? Are they still searching? You know, are they getting closer or anything like that? And he said he didn't want to answer those questions. Somebody in the chat room can probably cite exactly that reference. It might not have been the 6 questions, but it was definitely a Q&A or something where he had responded that he didn't want to answer that question at all. He totally, passed up on that answer. But now, like DeCalla is saying that he has said that, it is somebody that is, in the community, that is known in the community, and possibly somebody else. So it sounds like, there could potentially be 2 people that are really narrowing down and do have a good, correct general solve, but don't have the correct solve that's gotten them within several steps of the treasure.
Hey, Journeyman has it right.
Nobody knows if they're the ones or not. That's the problem,
Yeah, exactly. And he's not saying, like he said in this most recent interview, where he said, in a million years, I would never say. And you got to respect the man for that and not giving that away. I've given him, a little bit of a hard time here lately about potentially, presenting a favoritism and all that, and that perception is 9/10 of reality. That there seems like there is some type of favoritism towards certain searchers, and that some people may have gotten hints, on the side or whatever.
And that goes back to the ladies thinking things that aren't really true. But why must I go? Troy, he did say that in 2014, he said a male was the closest and that possibly a female was with him. So that was in 2014.
The one taking the picture. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it could have been a woman taking a picture, sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Yep.
I think Fenn does want a woman to find it. I don't think there's any doubt about that. I think it fits nicely with this tribute to women sort of idea. I
know I want a woman to find it.
Yeah, go ahead, find it, and give you permission.
And actually, that was a thing, like when Joel Wicky's Facebook page, again, like today, that was where that Stephanie 30 Acre thing that I brought up earlier came from. It was like, they quoted, they put up a quote of how he said when she opens it or when she finds it, she'll be impressed with what's inside or whatever. And they were like, do you ever notice that Fenn has like a preference? He uses a she term a lot when it comes to finding the treasure. So.
Well, he's even called the treasure a woman. In that whole Jenny Q&A answer about lost treasure thoughts, he said, I'm sure the treasure chest relishes her guardianship of the rich objects concealed in her care and over which he stands sentinel. So there's again reference to she. I mean, so.
I wish I could rattle off all the quotes like Sean does.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Man, walking encyclopedia.
I have no childhood memories now. Thank you, Forrest Fenn. I just had to dump all that.
He's erased everything but the book and the poem.
Right, yeah.
And all I got. Scrapbooks, yeah.
All I got.
And every quote by Fenn. He's a walking.
There's some childhood memories I was willing to give up, but thank you, Fenn.
Does anyone here write FF in the dirt or carve it into things where they search. I have seen it and hate that. What are you, nuts, David, dude?
No.
What do you?
I don't.
No.
I don't want anybody knowing where I'm at or other searchers thinking somebody else is there. No, I wouldn't do that.
No, I have seen a lot of like F's and stuff on trees and stuff in pictures when I'm searching through things. So whether treasure hunters are doing that or Forrest himself is doing that, I don't know. I mean, but
that'd be
I have
awesome
seen
if
it.
Forrest was trolling all of us by just like random F's on trees, you know.
I think I'm going to go searching for all those Forrest Fenn coins and put them on eBay. I think I could probably make more money doing that than I can probably do finding this treasure.
After how much they've been going for, I don't know if anybody's actually going to put them where they're searching. Yeah, I mean, my God.
The secondary market on those things is going to be great.
I wish I would have bought more.
You could have got twice for them coins.
Like, Mike, why did you even think about asking Forrest what he thought about how many coins? You should just done it.
Yeah. Well, that reminds me. That reminds me. Let me just bring something up here. DeCall and I were talking, and we had joked about putting together a Forrest Fenn 7%er bumper sticker together. You know, and just joking about having fun with that. And every one of the bumper stickers would be number 001. And then I told K-Pro over on Hint of Wrenches that ought to be their next contest over there. So now they have their contest over there where everybody's putting together their best 7%er bumper stickers. But you know, everybody's putting these lines in there and what they thought would be the good, you know, lines for those bumper stickers. So if you haven't gone over there and read that thread, there's actually a couple of really good ones in there where people are putting together. But I'd like to see people put more detail, you know, into how the bumper sticker looks. I think it would be a great idea, and hopefully we get something good comes out of that. But it'd be a lot of fun. And the number 001 will definitely go to Bill Gorman.
You're number one, Bill.
Where are you, Bill? Bill, you are number one.
Oh, don't dredge him up, man. Let him sleep.
He's good. I love Bill. He's good.
23 Monarcha in the chat was saying, please do not kick me out. Just listen to what I'm saying. Your brain makes the clues seem harder than they are, but they're not. It is your perception to your reality that won't let you see the truth.
Yeah, 23 Monarcha. Just so you know, no
Matrix.
Moderators. Anybody
No moderators.
anyone here, you're not getting kicked out. We have not progressed to
fine.
that
Don't worry
elite
about
chat.
it.
23. What state are you looking at?
If you talk about swinging and murders, we might kick you out.
Great.
Come on, wuss. Give us a state.
I didn't talk about murders, just so you know. I just thought of
This guy. Not you. This guy.
Just saying. No murders here.
I said imagination, you know. We can imagine things, all right? But
That's better than D.B. Cooper.
Yeah, and I did in the chat. I did say honestly, like what I figured it's probably where he had his first kiss, or a moment, like a really good bonding moment with his dad. That's probably
his
all
first
it was.
broke back thing that you had said.
But like I said, like I couldn't help but think the possibilities of why he would have taken it out. But then again, but honestly, why would he have even put that in his autobiography anyway? Honestly,
your own personal memories. Wouldn't you say your childhood memories take a more emotional style than some? You'd rather.
Honestly, my childhood memories are probably my fondest memories. You know, as I got older, there were a lot of memories, but I can't say they were necessarily good ones. You know, I would say innocent. I mean, for the most part, yeah. Like I can remember sometimes, like I remember when I was like 9 years old, my mom and my dad got in a fight and they separated for a while. That was like when the innocence kind of left, you know. But before that, like I can remember a lot of very young moments. You know, I think when I got to my teenage years, that's when all the bad stuff started happening. All the naughty stuff, all the rebellion, all the stuff that I do not want to mention on YouTube, especially after I've had a couple drinks.
That is the after show.
No, that's the stuff we're not going to get to. That's the stuff that I will talk to when I finally progress to my point of overcoming the challenges of life. When we get to those videos of how to take your experiences and move on and grow from them.
Yeah. Learn
So
from them.
DeCall's got an offer in the chat to take him to the treasure chest. Yep.
What?
But,
What?
All that means is 23 is such a retard that he thinks he's got the correct state, and he won't even say what state it's in. You realize how retarded that is, dude? You can't even say what state you're in. There's 1 in 4, okay?
All right, say the same thing.
All right. Listen,
already called Sean
23.
23, you're in the wuss club.
23, if you've never gone out searching before, it's very, very common to be very confident in your solve.
Yep.
I know I was just there this past April for my first boots on the ground, and I give you mad props for having that confidence. But you really need to have that first boots on the ground to hit the reality of what you're dealing with.
23 is nowhere near reality. Sorry, dude. Just go to sleep. Go to bed.
We've got way too much static again. Check your mics. Yeah, guys, it's a big, huge reality check. When I use Google Earth every day in my job, and in my job I've got to position cranes in certain positions to make them do a certain job, and it's very easy to look at Google Earth and say, oh yeah, I can put the crane there. But then when I drive out to the location, I physically look at the terrain. I go, I can't put a fucking crane there. There's no way. So I mean, Google Earth does not give you any kind of real reality on what the Earth's surface is like when you get out there. And one program that I recommended to Jason is CalTopo. CalTopo, it allows you, and it's CalTopo.com. And what CalTopo allows you to do is it allows you to overlay imagery on top of a topographical map. So if you know how to read a topographical map, and if you don't, I suggest you go down and listen to this guy's videos on how to read a topographical map. But it allows you to overlay a topographical map onto imagery and allow you to see, the elevation differences between the contour lines to allow you to be able to see that, yeah, it's obvious that a 79-year-old guy is not going to be able to walk up, this terrain based on the contour lines. So you got to understand that. So if you haven't used CalTopo, and I suggest you go look at that program and use it and look at your search area before you ever go out there, because Google Earth does not give you a good representation. And whoever this FMC guy is that posted this whole, things about the different type of searchers out there doesn't understand that a poem purist doesn't just peruse Google Earth looking for the aha moment of the perfect lineup of their clues. That's just a complete fallacy. I'm going to tell you that right now. We don't. I look at topographical maps. I put my boots on the ground. And I go out there and try and test out my theories. There's just no absolute way you can do it by just looking at Google Earth. That's idiotic in my opinion.
But it's not like I'm disagreeing with you, Sean, but like Google Earth, you can see every bush. You can see many, large rocks. You can see.
Sure, but you don't know if that's a bush or if it's a tree. I mean, until you actually get your boots on the ground there, you don't actually know.
You can measure a tree. You can measure things. You can measure it. There's a measuring tool. You can see. I'm not saying you can see everything because you can't see topography. You're totally right. It could be a very steep incline, but I can't imagine that the blaze is not detectable on Google Earth. Even though, of course, it's possible. It could be on a tree. It could be whatever. But I tend to think that that the masses of people will not be able to travel to the treasure site to see the blaze. Okay, this amazing, spectacular blaze. It would make sense that the blaze is visible from Google Earth so that everybody can enjoy the treasure location, and kind of comprehend Fenn's legacy from the computer screen. But that's just my.
But most people don't have the luxury of living within the Rocky Mountains. Most people live well without the Rocky Mountains. So if you're wanting to use good tools that can help you plot out your course and your clues, I would highly suggest you go over, not just use Google Earth, but look at CalTopo, use that as a proper tool to plot your stuff out and understand geography before you ever go out there and spend thousands of dollars to get yourself from Florida or from California, wherever you're at, to go out there to your spot in the Rocky Mountains. Do some really good research. And I don't have to tell that. Everybody knows that. But just use all the tools that are available to you. And like Shannon says, there's a lot of different, Google, programs and tools that you can use, and all the different websites that are out there. Like she says, there's a lot of good things she's put out there. And if you haven't watched some of her videos, I highly suggest you go watch some of hers, and obviously subscribe to her channel. And if you don't know how to read a topographical map, again, go down to Jason's channel, Fenn Treasure Hunter, and listen to his, his things on how to read a topographical map, and subscribe to his channel and like him. There's a lot of great information out there, guys. It's not that any one of us are right. It's just there's a lot of good collective intelligence out there that you can use. I mean, searchers that get into this chase now compared to, poor guys like Stephanie and Dal and Cynthia that got into this in the very beginning, we have such an advantage over those people that got into it years ago. Use that to your advantage. There's a wealth of information out there. Again, I'm a poem purist. I think that all we need is a poem and a good map, but there's a wealth of information out there, and use it to your advantage.
Yes, I'm somebody who believes that everything happens for a reason. And I think there's a reason why I did not get obsessed back in 2013 when I first heard of Forrest Fenn. So,
Sure.
But anyway, It's getting super late on the East Coast where I'm at. So I think we should start wrapping this up, Sean.
I agree with you guys.
We're almost at 2 hours here. I mean, I know this
Jason, you got anything you want to put out there before we wrap this thing up? I know you got some shows coming up. You'd like to do the Tuesday live show. Talk a little bit about your channel, what you're doing, and
so I'm trying to inject a little bit of comedy in there once or twice a week. Some of it might be dark or dry humor. I don't know if people pick up on that. No intentional jabs towards anybody. Just light humor, all well intended. I do have a channel, Fenn Treasure Hunter, and you can email me at finntreasurehunter@gmail.com. But, rules for my chat, just don't bash any of the other people in the chat. No personal attacks. Just keep it clean. And, that's really the only rule I have for my chat and my channel. But other than that, feel free to hop on by, take a look at it. And I might be doing another video Friday in conjunction with another searcher. So you guys will just have to stay tuned for that.
And DeCal, I know you had talked about you're wanting to put another video out coming up. You want to talk about that, or?
Yeah, I'd love to talk sometime about the solar connection with the poem, the 24 lines being 24 hours, the different gold being the symbol for the sun, that sort of thing. Maybe I'll have to do it now that I talked about it, but I think it'd be interesting. It should help anybody with the concept, whether it fits your solve or not, doesn't matter.
Shannon, and I know go ahead.
Well, you can find me on Facebook.com/DeCall.
And Shannon, I know you put out a short video not too long ago. I know you gave us an update on your mom. It sounds like she's doing well. You got her somewhere set up. I'm glad to hear that. That's great. You want to give us any update on that and what you want to do?
Yeah, my mom, she fell and broke her hip last Thursday night, had surgery on Friday. She officially hit old lady status. She's currently in a nursing home doing rehabilitation, and she's very emotional because she's feeling like an old lady right now in a nursing home, but she's doing great. So once I'm done work this week, I will be putting out at least one video this weekend, hopefully to get 2 of them. I will be doing my warm water salt video this weekend and hopefully do the hidden video as well. So stay tuned for that. And again, you can find me at the Odious Soul channel on YouTube. You can also go to my webpage, odioussoul.com, and you can find out where you can stalk me online. So, and please don't be offended. I don't actually accept friend requests from searchers. There might be 1 or 2 that I have, but I do not generally, unless we've communicated and stuff, I don't actually will accept your friend request. So don't be offended by that, but you can follow me on Instagram, Snapchat, and it looks like DeCall has a video and has a visitor in his room back there.
Oh, I got kids everywhere. They could come and go. We're not.
Don't you have like 11 kids? Isn't that right? Is it like 11?
That's
what do you got?
Very true. I have 7 of my own, and my wife had 4 when we got. My first wife died of cancer in 2003, and so I remarried in 2006. I love all my kids, and we're just one beautiful family. I'm very proud of all my kids. They're wonderful.
You have a beautiful family to call. Beautiful family.
Facebook me. It's easy to find us.
Yeah. So folks, again, Sean Dotson with the Flip Side. My focus is really turning to making sure we get a good weekend update out, and then we're having fun with this. I think this is something that we're going to have a lot of fun with. Shannon, DeCall, and I have kind of committed to being the core group of this and bringing other, searchers in. And it doesn't necessarily have to be somebody who has a YouTube channel, where we're willing to accept people that are just searchers out. It doesn't have to be a well-known searcher, just somebody that wants to come in, has a great personality, wants to have fun with us. And we're just looking to have a good time. And we're here to, talk with you guys on the channel and do something a little bit different that isn't out there, and just have fun with this. So we're enjoying what we're doing. We're going to continue to try and grow this channel and what we're doing here. So we appreciate it. And we appreciate you guys supporting, Shannon Utz and the Odious Soul and her channel, and DeCall's channel, and Jason Dent's channel with the Fenn Treasure Hunter. And again, promoting all the other channels out there, like, Shelly and both Toby are doing. Again, like Shannon has said, they're kind of like our parents of the chase, and we are kind of the misfits, so to speak. So we hope that tonight that you've enjoyed this show. Again, we will be here next week, Wednesday, immediately following A Gypsy's Kiss, and we will just have a good time again. And again, we're non-PC. We're just here to have and see where it goes from there. So we hope tonight that you guys have all had a good time, and we look forward to catching you all next week on the Flip Side. So have a good night, and we will see you next week, guys.
Take care.
Stick around, guys. I'll go on live, and that's it.